Hey everyone, welcome to session 1 of, what do we call this thing? Business Starter Test Lab. I already told you in the introduction that, part of what I'm really doing here is just wanting to share with you the things I've learned as a business owner and as a coach that you can do and apply to your idea that you have, this business you want to have, and really run it through the test and see if it's going to work. The place I start with every aspiring entrepreneur is with vision and mission. Simon Sinek has this book. I have it right here. I'll grab it. It's called Start With Why. Start with why. Okay. It's great. It's a great book. And his basic point is that when we start with why we're doing something, it makes sense of everything else. When we start with what or how, we go off track, and people don't really care at the end of the day. But when we start with why, everything makes sense. Here's the deal. You have this idea, and most people's business ideas start with a product idea or a service idea that they have, and they're like, man, I could do this. I could make money at this. And if they happen to, grit it out and make it happen, good for them. But it's disconnected from their whys, from their sense of purpose. Inevitably, they'll give up on it. Or it'll cost them too much and they'll lose their soul. Or worse, well, I don't know if worse, but they'll lose their family. They'll lose their spouse. Those costs aren't worth it, you guys. Like, starting a business is going to cost you a lot. It's going to cost you blood, sweat, and tears. And it's going to be hard to motivate yourself to keep going. And sometimes you're going to be completely lost and discouraged. But it's not worth your life. It's not worth your soul. It's not worth your relationships. So, you start with you have this idea, but if it's not connected to your sense of purpose in the world, it's just not worth going after it. So I always start here in this place with, okay, so you've got this recipe for an amazing brisket that you want to sell. Cool. What do you want to do with your life? And how do you want to make the world better? Because this idea that you have, okay, cool. I'm sure it's amazing. But someone else can probably do it just as good. And do you really realize how much it's going to take to bring this to market? What's most important is, what do you want to do with yourself in the world? What difference do you want to make in the world? So I have 3 different metaphors I want to share with you. The foundation metaphor, the CEO metaphor, and the soil metaphor. So the foundation metaphor, this one's pretty easy. They're all pretty easy, to be honest. Foundation metaphor, if you don't have a good foundation, everything that you build above is going to be wonky. It's not going to last. There's a fraternity house up the street from my house, and they don't take care of this building, just the bare minimum. And the retaining wall needed replaced. So one day I'm walking my dog by there, and they've torn down the retaining wall. And over the next few days, I watch as these workers come in, who I discover by watching them that they have no clue what they're doing. They've never done this before, clearly. And they make a royal mess of it. They didn't do I don't want to build retaining walls. I hate that. I would hate that work. I've done a little bit of it. It sucks. But you know what sucks about it? What sucks about it is setting the foundation. You have to build a level, solid foundation underneath the retaining bricks you're going to use. And then you have to set that first row and have it be completely level. If you do that, the rest is cake. But if you don't do that, the whole thing is going to be a mess. So I walked by one day and they put a ton of bricks out, and I'm like, oh, wow. And then I look at it, I'm like, this thing, a retaining wall is supposed to lean back a little bit to hold the soil back. This thing was like this. They weren't even stacking the bricks right, let alone a good foundation. Next day, I walk by, they're tearing it down, starting over. And And as I watched, they never actually put together a decent foundation. At the end of the day, this wall has these massive gaps in it. Instead of the stones sitting like this and stacking, they're like, crooked. It's a disaster. It's a real disaster. This thing is not going to last long. A retaining wall with those kind of bricks, I don't know, should last 20, 30 years. This thing, 5? Like, it's not good. It's the worst thing I've ever seen because they didn't set a good foundation. That's the foundation metaphor. Your vision and your mission are the foundation of your business. The CEO metaphor, okay? The CEO is the chief executive officer. The chief executive officer doesn't do a whole lot. The chief executive officer's job is to see the future and set the course to that future. What is the preferred future? Where are we going? And, see the future, I don't mean by like predict the future, but say, hey, who are we becoming? Where do we want to go in the future? How do we see the world being different in the future? That's the CEO's job. If you don't have a CEO that can see out into the future in their mind's eye, where they want to go, where they want to take the company's going to struggle. The company's going to be more reactive to what's happening around them rather than staying the course. The company is going to get disillusioned when there's challenges. The morale on the team isn't going to be great when sales are down or conflict arises, because those things happen. If you don't have a person, and maybe you've worked for a company that had a CEO that didn't really have great vision, and wasn't really deeply connected to the mission of the company or any sense of mission, that's how the rest of the company is going to struggle. And companies like Apple with Steve Jobs, for example, you may not like Apple, you may not like some of the things that they've done, but everyone knows that Apple has been successful, and it's not because they are an amazing computer company, which is how they started. They're not really even a computer company anymore. They are a technology company. But Steve Jobs said, we are going to give the power of technology to the normal average person. That was his vision. And so everything they've done, from outside of computer company to the iPhone, which I'm recording on right now, iPods, Apple Music, Apple TV, all these different things, has all been to this in service of this greater vision. Not just, hey, we're going to make amazing computers. We're going to make the best computers. We're going to make the fastest computers and the most reliable computers. We make computers. That wasn't the vision. The vision was, we're going to give the average person technology, the technology that the professionals have, so they can do the same thing that the powerful can do. Okay, so the CEO metaphor. The last one is the soil metaphor. I live in Nebraska. This is farm country, farm and ranch country. And I grew up around that stuff, but it really wasn't until I moved into my neighborhood here in Gifford Park in Omaha, Nebraska, that I really started thinking more deeply about soil. Soil is what everything grows out of. And if you got good soil, the things that grow out of that are going to be good. And if you've got bad soil, it's going to be hard to grow stuff. So where I come from, central Nebraska, we live on the edge of the sandhills. Sandhills are sandy. It's not great growing ground. It's great cattle ground. It grows grass, so it's ranch country. And then just on the edge of that to the south, there starts to be some decent farmland. And so people grow crops there. But it's not like Iowa farmland. Iowa farmland is this deep, rich, black soil. They call it black gold. And it just grows so good there. In Nebraska, almost every field, if it is producing it very much, is got a pivot on it or watering it, because the soil there doesn't retain the moisture the same way. In Iowa, very few fields have pivots because the amount of rain they get stays in the ground because the soil is so good. I could go on and on about soil and organic and nutrient-dense soil and micropollen and this whole movement. But I just want to say this metaphor of the soil. Like if the soil is strong, if the soil is healthy, if the soil is full of microorganisms, then what you grow in that soil will be full of nutrients and will grow more abundantly than if the soil is less than ideal. Right? So that metaphor brings us this idea that if I don't have a depth of vision to why I'm doing what I'm doing, the chances of me being able to stay through the droughts, the ups and downs, are pretty small. So this is why I want to start with vision, with this idea of vision and mission, or if we were to use Simon's language, starting with why. So what exactly are vision and mission? Here's my simple definitions. I want to make everything that we do, I want it to be simple and easily graspable. So vision is simply the future that you see. What is the preferred future? Your vision of how the world is going to be different because of the things that you did. And then mission is what you do to get there. Okay. So let's say a vision is I want to see that the world is has all the every kid in our neighborhood has all the food that they need. No one goes hungry. All right, so then the mission, how do I get to that point that no kid in my neighborhood goes hungry? The mission could be something like, well, I'm going to start a food pantry, or well, I'm going to start a urban farming education nonprofit, or well, I'm gonna open a restaurant that hires kids. And the vision gives you a mission. So what we want to do with this business of yours is to dig into what is the vision, what is the mission. So here's 2 exercises we're going to do. We're going to do a vision exercise. We're going to do a mission exercise. So vision. It's just this question: how would you articulate the future you want to see become reality? And I want you to set aside your business idea for the moment. And this is just about you and where you want to go in life. How you want to see the world be different. A couple questions to help you articulate that. How do you want the future of the world to be different for you and for the people around you? Hey, buddy. I want you to describe how it feels for them, how it feels for you. And what are the metaphors that you want to use that come to your mind as you describe this? Grab a piece of paper, write down a draft. I don't let this just flow out of you. It doesn't have to be something you're really articulating deeply. My conviction is that our deepest desires, if we can tap into them, some of us have them buried down, and that's for lots of reasons. And we can dig into those more. That not in this course, but just take a stab at it. The first thing that comes to your mind, the first thing that wells up out of your heart, and just write it down on a piece of paper. 1 page. Doesn't have to be big. A paragraph. 3 sentences. It doesn't have to be long. Here's mine. And it has taken some time to distill it to these words, but it's always been there. If I look back through my history, something to this essence was always there. But currently it's, I nurture an ecosystem of mutual flourishing. I build systems and structures that help people flourish. I create opportunities and create environments where people can flourish. I support people as they go down their road to flourishing. I coach people. I start things and I help other people start things. I want to nurture an ecosystem of mutual flourishing. Okay, so write something down like that. And then, and this vision that you're writing down, I want it to come just your personal one. We're not going to talk about your business at the moment. This is just you, your personal vision for what you're doing in the world. Anything you do, business-wise or not, needs to grow from this place. Okay, now the next one is mission, your second exercise. And And this one is just, again, asking the question, what do you do to make this vision come true? Here's a few questions to help you unpack that. What do you like? What do you like to do? What do you like? Just like, what are things you like? What do you want? What are you good at? And what skills have you learned? Okay, these are some things that you do. This would be, in terms of Simon Sinek's language, your how. Okay, you're starting to articulate your how. And then you're going to ask the question of your business. Okay, well, what does your business do to make this vision come true? This is where you're getting to, what is your elevator pitch?